When you think of German engineering and design, what comes to mind? For me, it's the automotive giants BMW, Volkswagen, and railway technology giant Alstom and Siemens. Reliable, high quality, luxurious, and steeped in history and legacy, yet always somewhat restrained, austere even, particularly from an aesthetic point of view. And this certainly rings true for many of the more popular models in Zinn's toolwatch-centric horological lineup. That's why the copper dial variant of the SA2 Pilot chronograph is such a fascinating departure from Zinn's otherwise largely monochromatic stylistic choices. Yet it continues to adhere to a classic, heritage-inspired design aesthetic that continues to drive an almost cult-like following amongst watch enthusiasts today. Hi, you're right on time. My name is Gallian, a watch enthusiast like yourself, and I aim to make your next watch purchase the right one for you. Today, we'll be looking at the German independent watchmaker Zinn's 356 SA2 Pilot's chronograph, which I have in hand right here, with the really lovely satin copper dial and the gallows-shaped patterning. Now, this particular version of the 356 is the very first automatic chronograph in my personal collection, which I think is a pretty exceptional entry point into automatic chronographs more broadly. And with that in mind, I'm going into this review focused on the wearing experience and how it fits into my lifestyle, rather than whether it's an objectively good chronograph from a functional perspective. Then again, who needs a chronograph timer anymore when you can have a smart device in your pocket? But let's jump straight into the 356. For those not in the know, Zinn was founded in 1961 by Helmut Zinn, a pilot and flight instructor who knew exactly what he wanted in an instrument watch: uncompromising functionality, legibility, and durability. Unlike luxury watch brands, Zinn took a no-frills, engineering-first approach, designing watches that were tools first and foremost. Early on, the brand focused on pilot chronographs and cockpit clocks, solidifying its reputation for precision under extreme conditions. Fast forward to the mid-1990s, and Zinn introduced the 356 Flieger chronograph. Inspired by the military-issue watches Zinn produced for the German Bundeswehr, the 356 was a smaller, more refined version of its predecessor, the 256, which itself was a civilian take on the Heuer Zinn Bundeswehr chronographs of the 1960s. With a 38.5mm case, a clean tri-compact style, and a robust automatic movement, the 356 was built to be a modern pilot's everyday timepiece: reliable, functional, and tough as nails. Over the years, Zinn has expanded the 356 line with variations featuring sapphire crystals, decorated movements, and a new dial color. The 356 SA2 Pilot chronograph, which we're reviewing today, takes the classic utilitarian design and adds a touch of warmth with a striking copper dial. It's a rare departure from the tool watch aesthetic Zinn is known for, proving that form and function can go hand in hand. Now that we've set the stage, let's take a closer look at what makes this particular 356 model special: its specifications, craftsmanship, and why it just might be the perfect pilot's chronograph for your collection. The case itself is bead-blasted stainless steel, a finish that reduces reflections and keeps the watch true to its tool watch DNA. Unlike their earlier acrylic crystal models, this one comes with a scratch-resistant sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating applied, as well as sapphire glass exhibition caseback, providing durability and a clear view of that movement. The 356 SA2 stays true to the classic proportions of the 356 series, measuring 38.5mm in diameter, 15.5mm thick, with a lug-to-lug of 45.5mm. While it's not the slimmest chronograph, its balanced dimensions make it highly wearable across different wrist sizes. On my 6.3-inch wrist, the 356 sat comfortably on both Zinn's bead-blasted H-Link bracelet and my go-to, the Zero Pass NATO strap, which provided a secure yet lightweight fit. However, I ran into some issues with a standard quick-release leather strap. Tightening it to the last hole pushed the watch hand awkwardly into my wrist, making for a less than ideal experience. If you have smaller wrists, strap choice will definitely play a role in how this watch wears. You'd also think that with the case height, there'd be issues with slipping this under a shirt cuff or a jacket. I'm pleased to report that that's certainly not the case at all, as you can see here. Powering the 356 SA2 is a Sellita SW500 automatic chronograph movement. It's essentially a modern alternative to the classic Valjoux 7750, beating at 28,800 vibrations per hour with a 48-hour power reserve. The movement is reliable, robust, and easy to service. Perfect for a pilot's chronograph that's meant to be worn and used. In the 356, it is a top-grade movement with elegant perlage, blue heated screws, and a custom Zinn rotor that are hypnotizing to behold. The dial of the 356 SA2 is where this watch truly sets itself apart from its more utilitarian siblings. While the standard 356 models feature a simple, no-nonsense jet black dial, this version elevates the design with a rich, satin-finished copper dial, complete with a guilloche texture that adds depth and sophistication. It's certainly a striking contrast to the silver-white guilloche variant in the lineup, offering a warmer, more refined take on the classic pilot's chronograph. This level of detailing marks a clear shift from Zinn's usual form follows function philosophy. While still every bit as legible as its black dial counterpart, very much thanks to the crisp printed black, Arabic numerals and Siren-style hands with luminous coating, as well as the lume plots at the 5-minute increments. The copper dial introduces an element of luxury, rarely seen in a 356 series. It's a watch that retains its pilot watch DNA, but carries a more versatile, dress-ready presence on the wrist. The layout is classic 356, 3 sub-dials at 12, 6, and 9 o'clock for the chronograph functions, with a neatly integrated day-date complication at 3 o'clock. While some purists prefer a no-date setup, the execution here is seamless, keeping it practical without disrupting the symmetry. Operating a chronograph is also really simple, with the top pusher starting the second hand, stopping it, and the other pushing, resetting the timer. One thing I do want to highlight is the sensation of the pushers. They're both pretty crisp and precise, offering a satisfying, tactile feedback when you engage them. There's no mushiness here, none at all. Just sharp, clean presses that give you confidence every time you operate a chronograph. Small, but a pretty important detail for a chronograph, and Zinn has really nailed it with these pushers. They're firm enough to ensure accurate operation, yet smooth enough for effortless use. The 12 o'clock subdial indicates elapsed time for a half-an-hour scale, and the 6 o'clock subdial measures time elapsed in hours. Taken together, this was a historically useful feature for timing events and even scientific experiments that took place over a long period of time. I'd imagine pilots that did not have modern onboard flight instrumentation in the past may have found this useful as well, although I've yet to do enough research on the matter. Of course, as expected of Zinn, the 356 SA2 isn't just a pretty face, it's built for action. With 100-meter water resistance, it's more than capable of handling daily wear, rain, and perhaps even the occasional swim. Not that I'd be bringing it in to a pool anytime soon though. It also features Zinn's robust shock resistance capability, ensuring it can withstand the demands of aviation or really just everyday life. Now, that versatility extends to how you wear it as well. On a leather strap, the copper dial takes an almost vintage charm, pairing effortlessly with formal or business attire. Swap it into a Zinn bead-blasted H-link bracelet and it leans back into its tool watch roots, ready for everyday wear. This balance of ruggedness and refinement makes the 356 SA2 a standout in Zinn's catalog, timepiece that can transition effortlessly from cockpit to conference room. I've also tried it on an FKM rubber strap and fabric Zero Pass NATO strap for a sportier look, and no surprises, it is a perfect fit. Now, let's talk about my gripes. We've already covered the case height, which is likely a result of Zinn's choice of movement and the decision to use a sapphire exhibition caseback to showcase the movement's decoration. A manual wind chronograph, such as the SW510, could have slimmed things down considerably by eliminating the rotor, but Zinn has stuck with the tried and true automatic approach here. The other issue? The loom, or rather, the lack of it. It is noticeably weak, and in my case, unevenly applied to the hands. This seems to be a potential production oversight, as other 356s I've seen don't have this issue. While it doesn't bother me too much, since I rarely rely on the loom, it's still pretty surprising. For a supposed pilot's watch, where legibility in all lighting conditions should be a priority, you'd expect a more consistent and effective application. Though by no means a deal breaker, it's definitely a miss for a brand that prides itself on function-driven design and quality. At $2,600, the 356 SE2 offers exceptional value for what you're getting, especially considering it's an older model. That price tag reflects the classic, handsome looks, balanced proportions, and robust build quality, elements that easily set it apart from its contemporaries. Take the Hamilton Intramatic, for example. I just could never get on board with the extremely long 49mm lug-to-lug on a 40mm case, which simply did not do this otherwise classic watch justice. Then there's the Longines Big Eye, which I consider to be the only true pilot's chronograph alternative to the Zinn at this price point. That said, it does wear a little larger at 41mm in diameter and a lug-to-lug of nearly 49mm with a similar case height. So for those of you with a larger wrist, I think both options are certainly viable, but for the rest of us, probably not. Of course, at this price point, you could also find a used Omega Speedmaster Reduced, which shares a similar chronograph footprint. If you're drawn to space-centric heritage and romanticism, that Speedmaster might appeal to you. But keep in mind that you'd really be sacrificing on some of the practical elements that the 356 has to offer. Features like the day-date complication and the 12-hour scale, which gives the Zinn a more functional edge for everyday wear. Furthermore, with the Speedmaster Reduce, you are also running the risk of buying into a heritage, or rather a vintage watch, and therefore may have to deal with some of the challenges with provenance and longer-term servicing. So what's your take on the 356 SA2? Would you say that this is perhaps a chronograph that speaks to your taste for precision and style? Or are you finding yourself leaning towards something that's a little more tool-focused? Let me know in the comments below. If you're considering making this classic beauty a part of your collection, I can confidently say that it's definitely a watch that's going to stand out, no matter how you wear it. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video useful, I'd appreciate it if you could like and subscribe as well. Until next time, keep your wrists sleek, straps clean, and watches wound.